The 659th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy-ho, Degenerinos. Welcome to episode 659 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to Elijah Smith, who impressed last week on Contender Series, made Gumby look smart, and this is a Contender Series episode. So it all makes sense in the end. Thanks for coming to the show. I'm Taco Fox, aka Jeff Fox, aka Jeff Chalks Fox. And we got a Contender Series event for you. We're already up to week 7 in the Contender Series. And the good news is the old Gumby that we knew and know and love and we used to worship is back. He had another typical Gumby week. He went 4-1 last week. So that shut up the haters. No one came back to apologize. Everyone that crapped all over everyone that was dogging him about his picks in advance did not come back and say, hey, you're right, but hey, you actually have a track record and you actually are transparent with your picks and tell people when you do good and bad. But no, surprisingly, no, someone on the internet didn't apologize, shockingly. So we don't care. We have thick skin here, despite being armless betas. So we're back, or Gumby's back with another week of Contender Series. I don't know, on paper this week didn't blow me away. Maybe I'm missing something here, Gumby, when I was doing the handicapping and all the background work. It's got a few decent people, but nothing crazy on this week.
I think it's got some question marks that are really intriguing, that could kind of go both ways, because like what I've seen them against, they've looked really good. There is one that I think is kind of a sure thing, is one that we're gonna be talking about afterwards, as being like, man, he really showed out. But like there's a couple other ones who's like, there's one that's really, well, actually 2 that are really young specifically for their weight classes. But they just kind of have like questions around them. And I think this could be a huge turning point for both of them. But I guess we shall see.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just grasping for storylines here, but does this season seem to be, there's people with far less experience than in the past, or far less polish on them?
No, I mean, they've had that every single time. I think we just remember, we remember the Kai Bohayos and the Jelton Almeidas and the Jack Della Medalenas, then we don't remember, maybe some of the Carolina Wojciks of the Contender Series. Like we tend to forget the things that aren't so great. The Olivier Murads, we don't remember, but we do. Yeah, we might have a slightly more inexperienced batch. I think this one has just been marked a little bit more by they're giving a lot of people a chance to return.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to feel excited about somebody when they got squished the first time. It was still easy to be excited about Therese Finney for me, because I'm like, I still think he's got a chance.
Freak.
He's gonna return again, which is the best part.
Yeah, that's true. He's coming back. What, week 9? Is it
9 or 10? Yeah, we're gonna see a third Therese Finney showing. He could be the first 3-0 guy ever on Contender Series. But like it's easier to be excited about a guy who won and maybe just didn't win exciting, and then they're giving a second chance. But a lot of these guys have lost, and then like it's hard to be like jacked up and be like, these guys are the future, when you've already seen them like lose on the regional scene. And that's not to say that like people don't lose in the regional scene. Everybody loses once in a while in MMA. But like, it's just maybe a little bit of the luster is off there.
Yeah. Anyone you're excited about this week without naming names?
Yeah, there's one I'm really excited about.
Oh, good. That's always good heading into things. All right. Well, let's enough preamble, Jeff. Let's get into it. After I tell you, of course, that we're in the middle of a war, ladies and gentlemen. Not to make light of you if you listen somewhere that's in a real war, but I'm talking about the war against corporate gambling. It's heating up, and SGPN needs you to do your part. If you can take a couple seconds to rate and review our wonderful show here, the MMA Gambling Podcast, tell us what you love about it. Give us 5 stars. Tell us what you hate about it. Call us armless, cuck, beta, liberal, left wings, whatever you want to call us. As long as you give us 5 stars. Most importantly, tell a friend. Word of mouth is the heartbeat of SGPN. Gubby may not back up what I just said about call us whatever you want, but
yeah, don't call us whatever you want. That's
Gumby apparently does have thin skin. Don't insult his picks, whatever you do. Or at least say, hey, you were right. You won me a bunch of money. All right. Okay. You're going to win us some money this week. We don't have odds yet. They've been, I guess we're doing the Contender Series a few days earlier than we normally did.
They're dropping later. They're dropping later too.
Are they dropping later as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think a lot of books probably took hits on people being sharper on regional lines and started opening them like the same distance before regional. Like LFA on a Friday opens usually on a Wednesday. We usually start to see lines, right? Or something like that, or sometimes Thursday. So when they were opening Contender Series ones, like a week and a half before, like UFC ones, I think they were getting hit. I think people know more about regional MMA than they were ready for. So now I think they're waiting a little bit, letting the offshores, put their toes in the water, and then opening their lines quite a bit later.
And why, Gumby? Why are people smarter?
It's popular. And me, it's obviously.
There you go. Wow. Not us, me. Okay, fine. Me. It's true. It's him. It's all him. All right, let's jump into this week's Dana White's Contender Series. It's going down Tuesday as per usual, 8 p.m. as per usual. Something called The Ultimate Fighter is over. September 24th is what we're up to already. UFC Apex is the place to be. 5 bouts. It was loud this past week in the Contender Series, in the Apex. At least the opening.
There were some of the Smith family there was pretty rowdy.
They were a rowdy bunch, and they had homemade shirts for him, and
he came through.
Great. So, he came through. Yeah, it was a lot of and the first fight, the opening fight again, always seems to come through,
always
right?
Always a banger.
Pretty much every week, maybe except one this year, maybe all the weeks, but yeah, all of them have really come through with bangers. All right, let's hope this week is the same. 5 fights. We'll start with the opening fight. We'll see if it's a banger on paper. Rose Conceição from Brazil versus Alexia Thainara from Brazil as well. They're pitting country people against one another. This is at women's strawweight fight. Thainara was supposed to fight Fatima Klein.
It's Fatima, yeah.
Fatima. It is Fatima, you're right. Yes, I've heard her name before, everyone. I just forget things when I go on the air for some reason. This isn't short notice, though, because that was, months ago when Klein fought, right?
Correct. Yeah, she fought Jasmine Jasudavicius in the summer.
Yeah, so Rose has had plenty of time to get ready for this fight. All right, no odds, but Gumby will tell you where he thinks it should be. We'll tell you about Thainara first. She has a nickname that's hard to say, too. I know the Ina part. Burguesina. B-U-R-G-U-E-S.
Burguesina. Yeah.
Burguesina. It's bourgeois.
Or the little bourgeoisie. Yeah,
the little bourgeoisie. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a French and Brazilian nickname. Thainara is 10-1. 1 knockout, 6 submissions. I hate it when their nickname's even harder than their last name to say. She's been submitted 1 time, so finishing her 1 loss. 8-0 over her last 8. By my math, won her last via submission. Is not lost since November 2019. Multiple regional championships on her
mantle.
Yeah, I'm wearing the shirt again. 3 straight episodes. Get this shirt at our store, sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Get sticky with it. And she used to fight up at flyweight and up at bantamweight. Conceição 7-0, 1 knockout, 2 submissions. She's has not fought since July of 2023. In that fight, she won the LFA championship. She also is regional champion. Used to fight at flyweight, an inch taller than Thainara.
So I think being the LFA champion is obviously going to give Rose the benefit here on the line. I'm going to say like -200, probably like +175 on Thainara. I'm going to go dog. I like Alexia Thainara here. And, you mentioned her only loss came, like 6 years ago. It was up a weight class at flyweight against Bruna Brazil, which is a very high level fight. Shortly thereafter that, she beat High-End Amanda, who is also in the UFC now. So she has had some high level fights. And if you just watch her most recent fights, you might be looking at her being she's kind of sloppy on the feet, and she kind of throws a little bit too wild on the feet. And it might make you think oh, she can't strike. But if you go back and you watch 4 or 5 fights ago, I think it's a strategy that she's been using against certain types of fighters to lull them into a certain kind of fight, because she was really technical in that High-End Amanda fight. She got a really nice jab and a 1-2. So I think she just uses it to her advantage if she wants to crash into the clinch or, work into certain positions. And It makes sense because her grappling is really good. So maybe it is all just like a ploy to get somebody closer to her, let them feel like they can get into her range and she's just going to throw wild punches. And she does a really good job in the takedowns. I really like her body locks and her trips. That's really her bread and butter when it comes to takedowns. And I like it even more because if you watch Rose Conceição, in her last fight, she fought Elaine Lopez for the LFA vacant title. And the thing about her in that fight is she gave up tons of takedowns early on exactly the kind of thing that Thainara does with takedowns. Like it was body locks, it was inside trips, and she went down with all of those same things. She gave up, was it back mount or top mount? She gave up a mount in the first round to Lopez, and I don't necessarily rate Lopez's grappling, at least definitely not her positional jiu-jitsu on top, as good as Thainara's. So, like, we're looking at somebody giving up a certain kind of takedown regularly early in the fight, basically until she tired her opponent out and started winning the championship rounds. And Thainara being somebody who does exactly that and isn't going to have to fight championship rounds because this is a 3-round fight. So, I like Alexia Thainara here. I'm hoping she comes in close to 2-1 because I think you'll find some pretty tremendous value there. But even if she winds up in like the mid ones, I think maybe a sprinkle would be worth it.
You definitely think she's going to open as a dog?
I think so, just because Rose is the LFA champ.
Likely.
Like it's hard to imagine an LFA champ with a better looking record being an underdog here against somebody who's, not that she didn't fight for good organizations, but like Jungle Fight gets a ton less publicity than LFA. So, an LFA champ here, I think she's got to come in as the favorite.
All right, there you go. Until all you degens steam the lineup. So hopefully you get in before that happens. Speaking of underdogs, let's tell you about Underdog Fantasy. So your transition to them. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em is always adding to their awesome menu. They now have first touchdown projections. There are tons of ways to win with NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, and more. The lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts and no sweat entries. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Do you have anything for the weekend for us, or for Friday, or for whenever, Gumby?
Well, let's talk about those first touchdown projections. We're going to take the higher than on Devin Singletary's higher than 0.5 first touchdowns on Sunday. Giants playing the Browns. I think Devin Singletary has been kind of a pleasant surprise for the Giants. He also catches passes out of the backfield. So give me the higher than on his 0.5 first touchdowns.
All right, you got it. You asked for it, you got it. Sign up with the code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That would be underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. Now back to your regular scheduled program. We're moving to a returnee, as Guppy mentioned there. Invited a lot of people back here. So you kind of see who they wanted to win the original fight when they invite these people back, I think.
I don't think they wanted this guy to win the original fight, but no, he fought Gian Silva.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
They wanted Gian Silva.
They did him dirty. The person in question would be Kevin Vallejos from Argentina. More on him soon. Important things about him. He's fighting against Cam Teague, not one of the point guards, one of the Teague brothers in the NBA. Cam Teague from United States of America at featherweight. Teague Chaos is the nickname. 7-0, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions. Taking this fight on short notice. He's won 6 straight fights via finish. He's fought at lightweight and 165 pounds. And he's 5 inches taller than Vallejos. El Chino, the Chin, is 13-1. That would be Vallejos. 9 knockouts, 2 submissions. Never been finished in any fight. 0-1 in Contender Series. Gumby told you who he lost to. Since then, he's won 2 straight fights, both via finish. He's a Samurai Fight House champion. Shout out to our OGs who remember Samurai Fight House. Those glorious days when we used to cover that promotion. This champion used to fight at bantamweight and lightweight. He's 3 years younger than Teague.
Yeah, so Cam Teague, probably going to be an underdog here. He's taking this on short notice. He's actually filling in for Luke Riley, who's fighting this weekend at Cage Warriors, which we covered on a previous episode. I mentioned he had visa issues, and it was supposed to be his fight against Kevin Vallejos. If you're listening to this on Sunday or Monday, that fight already happened. Hopefully you tailed and he won very handedly. The thing about Vallejos, first of all, I think he's going to be a favorite here. He's just more well-rounded. Anybody who's watched tape on this should see him as a favorite, maybe negative 225 plus 200 on Teague. When you watch Vallejos, like he went a hard 15 minutes with Gian Silva. by the end of the fight, did it look like he was getting outworked? Yeah, he was bloody. But like he took big shots from Gian Silva. And let me tell you who's done that so far in the UFC. Nobody, including Drew Dober, hasn't been able to do that.
Yeah.
And like he landed on Gian Silva, which is worth noting. Like landing on Gian Silva is not easy to do because that dude is a maniac, but he's also elusive. And Vallejos did a really good job of getting in his face. Also, if you want to go back to some of Vallejos' fights in Samurai Fight House, he beat Eduardo Garagori, where he, just kind of like pressure and took him into deep waters with like really good cardio. And that's kind of always been my beat on Vallejos, is like he's a fun striker, really light on his feet, bounces in and out of range exceptionally well, and can put a pace on you. And I like all of those things about him. Kind of got questions about his wrestling, but you're not going to see that here against Cam Teague, because Cam Teague, he's coming off of a big win himself. He just fought Austin Lingo in Fury, which was a fight we covered. I gave Teague almost no shot in that fight, and boy, did he prove me wrong, which is why he's here right now. But the thing about that win against Austin Lingo is it was kind of a fight where he put a pace on Lingo that Lingo couldn't keep up with. Lingo was so tired by the time Cam Teague got the TKO, and he got the TKO by standing TKO. Like he didn't even drop Lingo. He likes to fight wild. He gets very crazy in there and tries to basically turn this into just a brawl instead. And I think he's not going to be able to trick Vallejos into doing that. I also think Vallejos would win a brawl against him. And I think he's got the cardio to keep up with it. So I think Vallejos has all the tools to kind of beat Cam Teague at his own game. And I don't even necessarily think he falls into that game. It's worth noting Teague does have power. If you are trying to get in on the Cam Teague side, I mean, just play the KO prop and nothing else. I highly doubt he's going to win this fight by decision. I think Vallejos can win it in a whole bunch of ways. So give me Kevin Vallejos here. Probably a pretty decent favorite.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen. So we got a dog. We got a favorite. We'll see what we get to next. The tiebreaker. Francesco Mazzeo from Italy. Kevin Christian from Brazil. This is at light heavyweight, 3-5 rounds if they need it. Christian is 8-2, 3 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted once, so finished in both his losses. He's won 5 straight, 3 straight via finish. He's not lost since October 2016, so that's a good little run going here. He's a regional champion. He used to fight every weight class, basically. He used to fight at lightweight, welterweight, middleweight. 2014 pro MMA debut, 5 inches taller than Mazzeo. Mazzeo 4-0. It says 4-0 with 5 knockouts. Somehow that math does not add up here.
You probably got one of his AMI fights in there.
Yeah. We'll say all knockouts. 4-0 with 4 knockouts. Won his last fight via TKO. Used to fight at middleweight, 2 years younger than Christian. I assume he must have a bunch of AMI fights there. Let's see. He's got actually 3 knockouts, excuse me. One of them was an illegal knee DQ that he won. So there you go.
So I think this one's really hard for me to line because on one hand, Mazzeo's the undefeated guy, but it is only 4-0, which makes you like kind of question whether or not they'd install him as a favorite. And, I'm not here hating on Italy. Shout out to Free on Twitter. That guy breathes Italian MMA, so I'm not going to hate on it. But I will say Italian MMA has not been a hotbed for the UFC as of late. So I also wouldn't surprise me just being from Italy if he comes in as a dog. I think he's the better fighter. So what I'm going to say here is I think it's probably going to be a pickup. And I will take Mazzeo, regardless of whether he's a slight favorite, slight dog, or if it is a pick'em. I like Mazzeo in this fight for a couple of reasons. The big one being, first of all, Christian is huge. He's 6'7", and he's got no defense in his striking. His hands are so low and he just leans out of the way of everything. And it's bad. Literally you could just run him down and he's basically just trying to like counter as he leans away from you. And it's not good. And as a result, he doesn't get much power on his counters because his body's so off balance. Mazzeo throws a really nice head kick. He throws a nice kick to the body. I'd really like all of his combinations. My only concern here, and the only reason I'm not saying like back the truck up to Francesco Mazzeo if he is a dog, is he tires really quickly. In the fight I saw of him, he did not look good in the second round. He started to look like he was fading. He did still win, and he pulled it all together. And actually, I think that might have been the fight he won by DQ that I was watching. He really faded in that second round. But like at the same time, like I think he's the more skilled fighter. I think he's far better in a lot of places. I also think like, Christian weirdly shot a takedown early in one of the fights I was watching. I was like, dude, you are 6'7". And the thing is, like, Mazzeo has the takedown defense to stuff that. Like, he's got really good underhooks when people shoot on him, forces them to strike with him. It just tires him out a little bit. So I like Mazzeo here. He's definitely the better fighter. You got to worry a little bit about the gas tank and the fact that he's fighting a 6'7" guy, which is real weird. But I still think he's the play here.
All right. And hopefully it's a dog. We won't even say pick him. Hopefully it's a dog. So Mazzeo's fought in Cage Warriors, so he has fought at a decent level too. So there you go. All right. The second from the top fight, they don't call it co-main event. Danylo Frunza. He is from, what flag is that?
You're messing this
Romania
up again.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jong. I can't believe I do this again to Jong and his stable. Danylo Frunza versus Vadym Kutsyi. Kutsyi, that's a Y at the end. Yes, Kutsyi. Where is he from? That's a different flag too. Bahrain? Does that sound right?
Belarus.
Belarus? Okay, Belarus. 3 500 rounds, 170 pounds. And we'll tell you about Kutsyi. Kutsyi? It's Kutsyi, isn't it? It's an I in the end. Kutsyi. Kutsyi is 17-1, 5 knockouts, 7 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 10 straight wins for him. Won his last fight via TKO. He's not fought low since December 2022. He's not lost since March 2016. He's a regional champion. He used to fight at middleweight. He made his debut in 2014. Finally getting kind of a shot at the big time here. Tagano, aka Gypsy, is Frunza's nickname. 8-2 with 7 knockouts. He's won 4 straight fights, all via knockout or TKO. He's not lost since September 2021, and he's 3 years younger than Kutsyi and a year younger. I'm sorry, an inch taller.
Kutsyi is my one I'm excited about here. I was not very familiar with him, probably because he's been off for almost 2 years. But I went back and I watched his last fight, which, by the way, his last fight, you mentioned he won by knockout. Mm-hmm. The guy he knocked out is back in the UFC before he is, which is kind of funny. It's Ismail Nardiev. Do you remember Ismail Nardiev?
Yes. And I don't think he thinks it's kind of funny, but yes, I do remember Ismail Nardiev.
I think it's funny. The guy he knocked out is in the UFC, and he's sitting here fighting on Contender Series. But yeah, he knocked out Ismail Nardiev in his last fight. And if you watch that fight, there's so many things to like about Vadym here. And the big one is that, like, he's very calm and composed on the feet. He's very technical, defensively sound, keeps his hands up really well. And then his transitions into the grappling are very slick. He caught one of Nardiev's kicks and hit him with an inside trip while he held the single. And for me, that is really impressive. Granted, it started a scramble because, let's face it, Ismail Nardiev, great at scrambling. But, like, he was able to get Ismail Nardiev down and have some level of control. And that is already a very impressive grappling feat. And then shortly thereafter, he knocked him out on the feet. He threw one right hand, dropped him. He got follow-up shots in there, but he didn't need them, kind of deal. And so, like, sharp on the feet, surprising power, very technical, defensively sound. And he's going to be fighting Frunza, who, when he lets go of his hands, he forgets they have to come back to his face. And I don't mean that as a mean thing. Like, he is just a guy who really wants to brawl, but then is, like, quite easy to counter. And in his last fight, he fought Harris Talunzik. I think he probably was going to lose to Harris Talunzik, but he knocked him out with 1 second to go in that LFA fight. And I kind of felt bad for Harris Talunzik because he put together, like, basically 15 minutes of good fight, and he gets knocked out with 1 second left. And in that fight, Talunzik, who I don't think is even as good of a wrestler as Kutsyi, he took him down a bunch of times. He hit some takedowns and had some control time. He especially pinned him against the cage and held him there and wore him down. And I think Vadym Kutsyi is going to do that tenfold to Frunza here. I'm guessing -300 favorite. Wouldn't surprise me if this is one of the ones that come fight time at like 500.
Is this the guy you're most excited about?
It's the guy I'm most excited about quite a bit. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Before we get to the main event and the lightning round, there's no
lightning round in this.
There's no lightning round. Imaginary fights we could do lightning round. We got to tell you about BetUS. We're brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can bet anywhere with them. BetUS is available in tons of locations, including internationally. BetUS just launched an all-new live betting experience. Easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. Check out all the MMA odds they got on there and use our link to sign up. And it gets you 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Promo code SGPN so they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. And we're brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Rhythm AI had a great NFL Week 2, 22.5% return on investment on NFL spread bets, and 44.3% return on investment on NFL money line bets. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from this leaderboard, or press Build a Model for Me, and Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop. It also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, I said it's a main event, but who knows? Last week they switched up the order after we recorded, right?
Yeah, they knew Elijah Smith had to be the main event.
Exactly. Yeah, and the original main event was the opener, right? I think is how it.
Yeah, it might have been that they thought it was going to be exciting. I think.
Yeah, it was. It's true. It was. All right, this one, not much I can tell you about these two guys. Gumby can, I'm sure, fill in the blanks. They won't take this out of the main event. This is a heavyweight fight. Bailey Schoenfelder, United States. Danylo Voievodkin.
Yeah.
Voievodkin. He's from the Ukraine. 3-5 rounds if they need it. Sloppy fatty's over, maybe. 265.
Schoenfelder is not a sloppy fatty. Let's just get that out of the way.
I was going to ask you, are these guys sloppy fatties?
He is not.
All heavyweights are sloppy fatties in our world. So, Voievodkin, 6-0, 5 knockouts, 1 submission. He's 4 years younger than Schoenfelder, 2 inches taller. Schoenfelder Berserk is the nickname. 5-0, 4 knockouts, 1 submission. He's the CFFC champion. Not much to say about either of these guys. Go ahead.
So Schoenfelder just came off that win over Greg Velasco. I'm trying to think about how they're going to see that win in the books, because Velasco was on Contender Series and he looked just atrocious. But then also he fought the big Iranian dude, right? Shamil Gadziev. Right. And then so Schoenfelder also beat him. I'm going to say Schoenfelder like -250. I'm going to pick him here, but remember when I said at the top of the show, I was like, there's a couple of guys I'm excited about, but like I have like a little bit of hesitancy, or there's something like you have to worry about. Schoenfelder weighs 225. He's a 225-pound heavyweight, and he's ripped. But like, it of course asks the question, like, could he be a light heavyweight? Because he kind of looks like a light heavyweight. And in the same token, that's actually why I like him in this fight, is because if you watch Voievodkin, which there's not a lot of film out there on his MMA fights, but you can watch some of his kickboxing ones too. He's slow, he's plodding, and he gets exhausted exceptionally fast. Like he is a tired boy. And he will be very much so in this fight. I've watched his kickboxing fights and they're 3-minute rounds and he gets tired after the first. And now he's up against Schoenfelder, who is really fit, puts a really good pace on for heavyweights, and I think he's going to have a wrestling advantage. He didn't use it in his last fight. He actually used it as a counter wrestling situation because he was stuffing Greg Velasco. But if you look back at some of his old fights, his wrestling is good. Basically, all he needs to do is put Voievodkin up against the cage, 45 seconds, and throw some knees to the midsection, and he'll be exhausted and he can pick him apart and finish him. But again, like you sort of have to worry about the size, because Voievodkin is actually a heavyweight and Schoenfelder doesn't look like one. So this is one of the ones where I'm like, maybe a great prospect in Schoenfelder, but also like, what are we doing here with a 220? I mean, like we had a 218-pound heavyweight last week, and we got a 225-pounder this week. It's alarming. But like in this case, the cardio and speed is actually probably the one thing he needs to be a kickboxer who tires really quickly. So give me Schoenfelder, and I think he probably gets the finish too. You're muted. You're muted, dude.
All right, what did you say we were going to get him out again?
I said
I was muted forever.
-250. Yeah, we're leaving that one in. I'm not doing editing for that. Yeah.
A kid came to bug me.
The people all right, need to know.
Let's recap. He's got Berserk. That would be Schoenfelder. He's got Kutsyi. He's got Vallejos. He's got, I missed someone. Oh,
Mazzeo.
Mazzeo, Vallejos, and Thainara, right?
That's right.
All right. You're all set. That's the last episode for the week. That's right. We're going to be back on Monday with more fun for you. In the meantime, we shall be in the Discord. Lots of MMA this weekend to watch. So it'll be a Jumping Place, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Twitter, SGPN MMA. Gumby runs that account for us. He's Gumby Vreeland. I'm Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. Check out my Substack at moneymma.substack.com. Check out Gumby's Top Turtle MMA podcast. He's interviewing some people from Invicta tonight.
Yeah, Jamie Edenden and Maria Jutic.
Check it out. And of course, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get bonus content, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store if you want to dress like me. And why would you not? We'll be back Monday. It'll be little bourgeoisie Gumby Vreeland. What will my name be? Tagano Jeff Fox. No, Berserk Jeff Fox. And we shall talk to you on Monday.